If you're a stepmom, chances are it's been challenging. You've experienced emotions that you didn't see coming. You've felt like you have no control over your life, like you're good enough until you're not. Maybe you're not on the same page as your partner when it comes to kids and the ex. Maybe you're triggered by the ex. Maybe you feel helpless because you want to protect your partner, but you're learning that you can't fix what you didn't break. Stepmoms often struggle to find their place. They find themselves in this place of competition and comparison and resentment and feeling overwhelmed. I'm not trying to be negative. I hear this from stepmoms every single day. I've also felt this way myself, until one day I made the decision that this was not going to be my life. Chances are you don't want to feel this way either, but you don't know where to start. That's where I come in. I created a guide for stepmoms who are craving change. It's an audit on your stepfamily life with 16 questions that I think that every single stepmom should ask themselves. If you answer the questions honestly and give this audit the time and attention it deserves, it will kickstart change that you're looking for. You can download it via www.jamiescrimger.com/stepmom audit. When you do, I'll send you the links for some other free guides too. I've got the secret to improving your stepfamily life and how to co-parent with a high conflict ex. Again, get your copy at www.jamiescrimger.com/stepmom audit. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're well. I hope that you're taking care of yourself. I hope that you're saying no to things that aren't serving you right now. I hope that you're taking time for yourself to read or just chill or work out or do whatever it is you feel like you need and want to do right now. I hope that you're drinking some green smoothies and getting your greens in, and I hope you're feeling good. And I hope that if you're not, this is a reminder to do a little check-in and regroup, because you deserve all of that. You know, I haven't talked about this in a while, but I love a good check-in. When I'm checking in with myself, I ask myself questions like, am I being the type of person that I want to be? Am I reacting to things in a way that I feel good about or that I feel proud of? Do I feel the way I want to feel? Am I being the type of mom I want to be, the type of stepmom I want to be? Am I being the type of wife, friend, employee, entrepreneur, whatever that I want to be? How do I feel about how I am showing up right now? And I promise you, your answers to these questions will give you an idea of where things need to shift and where you should be redirecting your energy. It works. It does. I promise. Now, this week's episode, guys, it's good. It's just two stepmoms shooting the shit. Chloe Caldwell is back. Chloe is a highly published writer, a stepmom, a wife, and she is someone who I just wish lived near me, because I am pretty sure that we would be best friends. We actually met through this platform a couple of years ago, I believe. She reached out on Instagram. She's really just been one of my favorite stepmoms since. She was actually on the podcast before, and we chatted about an article that she had published in the New York Times about step parenting and what happens when our house, our rules backfires. So that's the mentality when you're co-parenting, where you're like, this is our house, our rules. I don't care what you get to do at your mom's house, or I don't care what you get to do when you're at the other house. This is how it's going to be done here. And you know what? Everyone can parent that way. There's a lot of us who do. But there are also times when this mentality can backfire and not work so well. So we actually talked about that in that episode. So it's episode 78. Highly recommend checking it out. I will link it in the show notes as well. But in this episode, we talk about a lot of different things, but primarily about how differently moms, or how differently stepmoms get treated when moms don't know that they're a stepmom, when they just think that they're a mom. So there is a difference. The way that other moms will treat you when they think that you're just a mom versus a stepmom, and the conversations that you have, they are different. So Chloe actually wrote an article about all of this, and she talks about a social experiment that she unintentionally did while at a yoga retreat earlier this year. And it's super interesting, not surprising at all, but it really talks about this whole double standard, or just the difference. So it's going to be a good one. I am so excited for you to hear this conversation. But before we get to this episode, I want to give all the stepmoms listening a heads up. In May, Darren and I are doing a live webinar. I am so excited about this. We are going to get raw and real and share what we've done and continue to do in our step family life to run our home like a team and deal with step family and co-parenting issues and support each other and parent together, even though we have different parenting styles and different priorities. I'm going to talk about boundaries and disengaging and supporting each other through all of this extra step family stress. We are laying it all out. So if you want to be the first to know when this happens and you want to attend this live interview or this live webinar, make sure that you are subscribed to my email list. So if you're not on the list, get on the list, jamiescrimger.com/subscribe. Now, if you just signed up for the Step Family Audit, don't worry, you are now on the list. But guys, we are just pumped about this because we've been together 9 years now, and it's so crazy to think about how far we've come in dealing with the extra stress that comes with our blended family life, very similar stressors that you guys all deal with. Things that used to derail our relationship or trigger us in the biggest way, they just don't anymore. And man, it feels good because I don't know if I could have continued on the way things were at the very beginning. We have really come so far, and we just can't wait to share it all with you. So again, make sure you're on my email list so that you're first to know. There's going to be limited spots. So it's jamiescrimger.com/subscribe. It's a free live webinar. We're pumped to do it. And get on the list. Now, as always, if this podcast resonates with you, share it with a friend. Share it out on social media. Come to iTunes. Leave your kind words and a rating and a review. All of this helps the podcast grow and allows us to continue to share these conversations and get some phenomenal guests on the podcast. So appreciate you so much. Appreciate all the support. Love you guys so much. Let's get to the episode. Welcome to the Kick-Ass Stepmom podcast. I'm Jamie Scrimger, wife, mom, stepmom, life coach, conversation opener, and BS caller. 7 years ago, I found myself sitting on the bathroom floor with a glass of wine, bawling my eyes out, wondering what the heck I was thinking, marrying a man with 3 kids and an ex-wife. Don't get me wrong, I was madly in love, the kids were great, but as a 26-year-old with zero experience in the parenting department, I was in over my head. When I went to the internet for support, I was disappointed with what I found. So I decided to create the type of support that I was looking for. Raw and real conversations about all things motherhood, stepmotherhood, and living a kick-ass life. Life can be hard, really freaking hard. But each week I'll bring you tips and strategies and mindset shifts to help you thrive amongst the tough stuff in life. My goal is to inspire you to live your version of a kick-ass life. We'll bring you along as I create my own. Let's do this. If you're loving the podcast and you feel like the blog posts on my website are great and helpful and all, but you're still struggling with step family life and just feel like you'd benefit from individualized support and an individualized plan to help you navigate your own unique challenges, I've got you. This spring, I've opened up some more space in my calendar to work with stepmoms one-on-one. So if you want to book a coaching call with me or even sign up for a longer-term one-on-one coaching package, you have the option to do so. So you can head to www.jamiescrimger.com/coaching to book your call. I love working with stepmoms one-on-one and just hearing the unique situation, their unique struggles, and creating a plan that works for them. Again, head to www.jamiescrimger.com/coaching if you'd like to book a call. Chloe, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, I know. I was talking to my sister today, Britt. So Brittany helps me do all the things that make, actually Brittany helps make all this happen. And I was like, oh, I just love Chloe. I was like, I just wish we lived near each other. I feel like there would be a lot of stepmom chats over wine and yoga.
I know, it would be so fun. We're like pretty much the same. We're like the same exact age too. Like it just, and your experience, I think it was that episode that you put out pretty recently, a few weeks ago, about your own, it was just you solo. And it was
healing my wounds.
Healing my wounds. I was like, that was my life. So it's just really interesting. I think like since our parents maybe divorced around the same, it's like that same time period before there was a lot of support for divorce. Yeah. And I noticed like people my age now, like 35-ish, are all like, oh yeah, that was actually sort of traumatic, but we just didn't have the kind of support that the kids have now. So I really liked that episode. It was really good.
Yeah. I felt like I was standing in front of the internet butt naked when I did that, but I think that's when the important conversations happen. But, you know, speaking of that, have you looked into the book? I'm going to, I'll send it to you, but it's Healing or Discovering Your Inner Mother. It's all about the motherhood wound or mother wound. Oh, yeah.
That sounds really up my alley.
Yep. I'll put it in. Oh, yeah. If you resonated with anything that I said in that episode, it is seriously, I haven't got through it, so I can't really like dive into it too much, but it is like game changing in terms of like your perspective on how your wounds from your childhood show up in your relationships, specifically with your mother. And it's not like hating on the moms for how they showed up. It's just like all about our society and all of that. And yeah, highly, highly recommend if that episode resonated with you. So
yeah, no, I will probably click purchase after this podcast because that's what
one
I do
child of divorce to another.
Yeah, exactly.
Stepmom.
Need all the
things. Yeah. So, you know, we want to talk about an article you wrote and published today. I'm so pumped for this conversation. So can you just share what happened, share the article that you wrote about. I feel like that's the best way to kind of dive into this.
Okay, sure. So I went to Mexico for a yoga meditation retreat. I took the plunge and just went. I had never been on a solo trip before. And I thought, if not now, when? It's a very Jamie kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I don't have like a little baby. I don't have anything. So I'm just going to go do this. And it was a really good experience. And before the trip, I had read on their website that you weren't allowed to have your phone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to at some point, check in with my husband and my stepdaughter. So I emailed the person putting on the retreat and I said, oh, is there any service at all? Or can I have my phone at any point? Because I'm sure during the week I would like to check in with my husband. And I said, and my daughter, because I just felt like I might not go on this retreat anyway. Like she doesn't need to know. I just felt like just literally in terms of like just being efficient, the word daughter is a lot quicker to write out than stepdaughter. So that's all it was. Like it was complete shorthand. So I just wrote that just to get across that I had a family, that I would need to check in with. And she wrote me back and she said, yeah, you can absolutely have your phone, etc. So that's how it started. I completely forgot about that email. And I went to this retreat and there were 2 other people there because COVID. So, normally these retreats probably have 75 people and it was just me and 2 others and the leader. And the first night we were sitting in the dining area, having dinner and getting to know each other. We're all complete strangers. One person was from Switzerland. The other one's from Colorado. So they don't know anything about me. I don't know anything about them. And at one point in the dinner, the retreat leader said, oh, how old is your daughter? And I said, how does she know I have, a stepdaughter? And then I thought, oh, my email. And there was just this really quick moment where in my everyday life, for the past, 3-4 years, I've been a stepmom. I would say, oh, she's my stepdaughter or she's my husband's kid. And then the people would say, oh, okay. Right. So I just had this quick second of, I'm just going to answer the question. I don't feel like talking about blended families and step families.
I didn't come to Mexico to a freaking yoga retreat to talk about the complexities of step family life. In fact, the complexities of step family life are probably why you ended up at a freaking yoga retreat in Mexico, right?
That's so hilarious. Yeah, exactly. And I'm so glad that I caught myself of saying, well, she's my stepdaughter, because I think even me saying that shows that like I don't think of her as my not daughter, but like, myself as a parent, like it downgrades it. Right. And I'm like, I don't feel like downgrading it. So I just said, she's 10. Because what's the difference? She's going to be 10, whether she's my stepdaughter or my daughter. Like my answers are going to be exactly the same. Right. So I said, she's 10. And then there's this flicker of, oh God, am I lying? Am I going to get caught by like the step parent police of like, cause you just feel
Yeah.
like, because when I said she's 10, everyone at the table was like, oh, like, oh my God, you have a daughter. I didn't know you had and so I could just feel the tone shift. And I know for a fact, if I had said, oh, she's my stepdaughter, there wouldn't be the, oh, that's so sweet. There would be, oh, what's that like? And do you get along with her? And how long have you been in her life? And what's the dynamic? And there'd be like baby mama drama, basically. Like, oh, well,
What's the ex thing?
what's the ex like? Do you guys get along? And I'm just like, I'm here to relax. So I'm not going to go there. So that was it. And then what was so beautiful was like, they started asking me questions about her that I feel like I don't get asked when I say she's my stepdaughter, because like I just said, the question goes into drama. So if you just say, oh yeah, my daughter, they say, what's she into? What's she doing for school? Like with COVID, what kind of activities does she do? What books does she read? And, have you guys ever gone to Mexico together? Have you traveled together? All of these questions that I was like, wow, okay, I'm being treated like a parent. So that's the first day. We just had that, that quick conversation. And then the next day I'm thinking, should I correct them? And then I'm like, what's the point? So I didn't correct them the next day. And the questions came again. And then there would be some comments like, oh, well, you must get up early, because you have kids, you're a mom. And the funny thing is, I do, because I'm a mom. I do get on the 5 a.m. thing because I'm like, need to get up and write and do my stuff. And I try to get up before Louise gets up at, 7:30. So all of this was true, but they wouldn't have said that to me had I been a step parent. So I let it go on the next day. The trip was 6 full days. So then I let it go on the next day. And then the next day they're like, oh, could we see some photos? And I just showed us some photos. I didn't feel like I was lying, because I wasn't like, oh, don't we look alike? I was just like, sure, here's a photo. I thought that would be funny too, if they're like, oh my God, she looks so much like you. And one person did say, oh, she's like a mini you. So I just was thinking, is this wrong? Is this bad? But then I was thinking, nothing I'm saying is untrue. I didn't add a word. I just left out one word. So then at that point I was like really convinced. I'm like, this is a really interesting social experiment, and I'm just going to really lean into it and like just milk it even more. And by the end of the trip, I was checking out in the women's, and I mentioned, oh yeah, well, I have a daughter. At that point, I'm just like, just like being really open about it. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I have a 10-year-old at home. And she's like, and then I'm getting in the cab and she's like, oh, make sure you give your daughter a hug for me, which she never would have said had it been my stepdaughter. So it was just this really fascinating thing. And I'm like, wow, that was actually really relaxing to be treated like a mom. And it was also kind of sad to see the shift, and it's no one's fault. And it's, it's just a cultural thing.
Yeah.
But it was like night and day.
Do you think that conversation is changing? Because, when I think about, there's a lot of stepmoms who just call their stepkids their kids. They would say, yeah, we have a daughter. Or, so I don't think there was anything, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, that's the truth, right? Like, that's a lot of people's truth. I always call my stepkids. And I think you've always called her your stepdaughter.
I do too.
And anytime I've had a conversation with you, but it is so interesting the way that women will treat you if you're a mom versus a stepmom. Like, I remember having a conversation. It was when Darren and I first got together. It was their friends before, right? So they had been couples friends before, and she came in, and we were just talking about parenting and life. And get this, we were talking about making lunches, and she says, well, as a real mom making a lunch. And I remember thinking, there are definitely some differences with being a stepmom and a mom, but did I miss the memo on how to make a sandwich? Like what the hell, like who the hell says that? She also drank all my wine that night, which left me extra pissed, but
not cool.
Like,
not cool.
The amount of things, oh, you don't understand because you're not a real mom, or not having those conversations. Right. Like, I have the kids just as much as their mom does, actually. Like, they spend just as much time with me. And it's the same with you. Like, it's like,
right.
Why is that experience minimized?
I know. I know. It's so interesting. And especially because almost everyone now is in a step family. Like, there's some
Hmm.
statistic, but it's just like, I don't know the numbers, but basically everyone has a step something. I guess
Hmm.
for me, where I felt conflicted was like, so for you, for example, like you have a daughter, and then like, wouldn't it be weird if someone else called her like their daughter? Like, that's where I'm like, well, she has a mom. So that's why in life, I will likely use stepdaughter, but like you're
Hmm.
saying, it depends on the situation. I think it's situational. I think
For sure.
if the point of the conversation is if you do or don't have a kid at home, or if you have to go pick someone up from school, it really doesn't matter if that's a kid you're babysitting or that's a foster kid or an adopted kid or a step kid. It doesn't change the situation that you need to get in your car and be somewhere at 3 o'clock. And what I
Hmm.
think is interesting too, I was talking to a friend. He is a stepdad, and his husband has adopted a child. So she has two adoptive dads and a stepdad. So she has three dads. And
Hmm.
he and I were saying her adoptive dad would never say, "Oh, I have to go pick up my adopted kid." You just say, "My kid." Or you don't say
Hmm.
like my foster kid. You don't put, but still with stepkids, there we still say that. Which I
Yeah.
get because it becomes confusing too if we're all using the same kid. So it's almost like there needs to be some kind of new word, because there's something with the word step that's very loaded.
Totally. Did you listen to the podcast I did with Kit Rich a couple weeks ago? She was talking about how she likes the word stepmom. She was saying
Oh,
because she's like, I like the word stepmom because it's this ever evolving word. She worded it way better than I'm
mm,
about to, but you can step up, you can step back. Like it's very fluid. Like you're constantly in motion. So there's something beautiful about it. I thought it was a really beautiful quote. I don't always feel that way. But it was definitely like I thought it was awesome.
I
But
like that. I'll have to listen. I'm behind on my podcast. I want to listen to that. That's cool.
it's
She's
true
like
though.
reclaiming it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. But I almost wonder, do you think the moms who don't fully embrace the stepmoms, it's almost like this loyalty thing, right? Because they wouldn't want someone, if they had a stepmom for their child, they wouldn't necessarily want that for their kid or their situation. Like, is it something to do with like women and our relationships and our insecurities and just how we're almost pit
Territorial.
against each other, right? From the beginning.
Yeah, I think it is. I think there's a territorial thing. I think there's a status thing, and I think there's a hierarchy. And that's what some of the women who responded to the article have been saying, because the article got posted in some Facebook group called Breastfeeding Mama, and the conversation went nuts. And I was surprised. I thought people were going to be upset at what I wrote, because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a few years ago, even they would have been, but something
Well,
has,
yeah.
right? And that's how you can tell things have changed, because people were agreeing with me and saying just this kind of, bullshit that the way people get treated just for like this four-letter word step. And then what was interesting was everyone came in with their own story. It was almost like a writing prompt. Like everyone responded, in my family, we do this. In my family, we do this. And that's what shows like it's just not one size fits all.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Like, I know stepmoms who, yeah, they say, oh, my sons, like these are my sons, or I'm their
Right.
mom. And that does not sit well with me. Like for me, I would have a problem with that as a mom.
Right.
It doesn't sit well as a stepmom. But for their family, it feels so right.
Right.
So like who are we to say that's wrong? Like it
And I think like it's so nuanced because step families are so common, each one is different, because sometimes you're a stepmom because like through death. Sometimes you're a stepmom through divorce. Sometimes you've raised the kid since they were, 1 years old and now they're 25. So yeah, you
yeah.
probably are going to be called mom. So I think in ways it's like actually hard to talk about and hard to agree on, because every situation has a whole story behind it. And that's what I learned in this Facebook group, just reading everyone's comments, because they're like, well, this, and then this, and then she, when she was a teenager, she called me this, and now she calls me this, and sometimes this. So I just think it's actually hard to talk about. So you might as well just do whatever the hell you want. I also was like, I think something on the internet right now that's really annoying is that people don't read, you really know, your full article or your full post, and they just see the headline. So some people were just reading the title of my piece, which was something like, I took the step out of stepmom and everyone treated me differently. So those people thought that I was saying, don't call me stepmom, I'm mom, which is not at all what I was saying.
Yeah,
so it's like,
so you get ripped a good new one?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So I was like, no, read the whole thing first, you know?
Yeah. Oh no, I get those sometimes. And it's like, you know, I'm a person, right? Who is getting these comments. Like, this is for real people. Anyway, I love what you said in the article. I wrote this quote down. It says, the conversation then would inevitably turn to my husband's ex, my stepdaughter's biological mom. They want to know if I got along with her. They'd want to know how long she'd been married to my husband. They'd want to know about the conflict, drama, and not the actual parenting part. They'd want me to confirm how hard it was, how I handle it. Instead of talking about parenting, we talk about my husband's past. Yeah. That to me, I was like, that's exactly why. That is exactly it. That is what happens when you say you're a stepmom. That's where the conversation goes.
Yeah, it does. And I think since I am open about being a stepmom, I'm vulnerable to that conversation because I would have, had I been sitting at that same dinner and I said, no, I'm a step parent and et cetera, I would have told them the whole story about my husband and his ex and the whole deal. And then I feel like an hour would have passed and I would have went back to my room feeling like shit, because I think that is where like the invisibility comes in of being a step parent. So then you leave the table and you're like, okay, they know my husband's history. Now what? And
now they know nothing about me.
Yes. Right. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to, it's hard. Like, I don't want to bitch too much about it because I understand where this curiosity comes from. And I feel like we all have that curiosity. I also think having this conversation around it is important because then maybe people will become more aware of, oh, if I meet a step parent, I could just ask them like some of their, how parenting's going and what their parenting philosophies are and not delve into their past, just like I would, because if you're meeting someone who says they're a mom and they have a 10-year-old daughter, are you going to say, oh, what were your ex-boyfriends like? And where did you used to live? And you're not going to get that nosy. You'll just talk about the kid. So
how often do you get to see your daughter?
Right. Exactly.
Right? How active are you?
Right. How active are you? Yeah. Do you get on the floor and play with her? And it's just like, so I hope it brings more awareness. And at the same time, I'm like, I understand being curious, and because I think we all are. But I think there's like sometimes a lack of respect with step parents of like, oh, give me the gossip and give me the juicy details.
Totally, because it gets very tiresome talking about those details over and over again. It really, really does. And you know, I find that, well, Frank, like my whole life is talking about the details, but it starts to be like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Right.
Because
like, I don't, this is not my
narrative.
Story. Right. Yeah. And, you know, I did this Q&A on my Instagram yesterday, and it's so interesting. Every single time I do a Q&A, and I get it. Again, we can respect the curiosity. It's, what does the ex think about your blog? Or do you guys get along? Or, what does she think about the one question was, I had said that Darren and I moved very quickly. Well, what did she think about that? I didn't
Why does it
ask.
matter? Right.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And I think that lends itself to a whole other conversation. It's like, how much permission are we giving their past, this person and this story, to have over our future together and our present? Because it is always there. Obviously, that's going to be like, that's the situation, right? You're always going to be affected by, you know, the legal agreement and, you know, the child they have together and like all the things. However, I think we give way too much power to that conversation, like way, way, way too much. And it starts to feel gross.
It does. It does start to feel gross. I think that's the right word for it. Because I think it undermines you as a human, because the person isn't asking, oh, what was that like for you? How quickly you and Darren move fast. That was must have been a huge change. What was that like? They want to know, okay, they want to know what other people thought of you. And it's like what you just said. I didn't ask. And it's like, I almost want to start saying, like, here's her email. If you want to ask her, like, about her past, go ahead. But I'm not going to report on a past I wasn't even there for. And like, yeah, my husband and his ex-wife, they traveled, they lived all over and they had a baby and all this. But like, I wasn't there. I was living my own life. So I did see that Q&A, and I actually laughed in my head because I've been following you for probably 2 years now, and I see you get that question all the time, and I know that you get annoyed by it. And I'm like, but I really relate, because with me, with writing, everyone asks me like, oh, what does your family think of that? Or what does your husband? And I'm just like, they don't care. Like, it's fine. It's my profession. It's how I make a living. Like, and so I really relate to that. And I've seen you be asked that question in the comments. I've seen you be asked that in Q&As, and they're probably asking because they admire you, but it doesn't come off that way. It comes off like they're kind of shaming you, or like you're doing something wrong, which you're not.
No, I'm definitely not. You should have seen. So I got this, I forgot about this. So I'd say 6 months ago, I ended up getting the worst hate mail. Like, this girl was literally coming at me because I was talking about being a stepmom, and she attacked me. She attacked Darren. She sent us like countless emails from like different email addresses. It was like a troll at its finest.
Oh my God.
It was somewhat entertaining because I don't actually let that kind of stuff get to me. But what I find is so interesting is they're asking me for what she's saying. Again, this would be very similar to the conversation, like her opinion and her experience. Like, I'm not blogging or talking or having conversations about her. I'm having conversations about a community of women who, again, felt like they weren't included, like they weren't getting the support, like they were getting left out to dry. Like, that's what this is all about. Right. And again, that's the point of it all. And that's exactly why you took out Step.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Why was this woman so upset with you?
Oh, I don't know. She was really upset though. Something really bothered her. Oh, you know what? When I did the post on moving into the house my husband lived in during his first marriage, I did make a bit of a dig on the bathroom decor, which like they were like, you shouldn't reorganize or change their house. That was their house. Like, you're a shitty whatever. Like, it was good. It was really good. I should look at that again, because it was definitely an entertaining piece. That's actually that was really triggering, funny. Right? And it was that too. Like, I moved into the house that my partner lived in with his first, like when they were all like a first family. So I'm not supposed to change anything. Like, I'm just supposed to sit here in some like shrine of like someone's past. Like, that's just such bullshit, right?
And it's so funny because if you moved into any house that didn't have a history of a first that you weren't like the stepmom for it, if it was just a neutral family, no one would care. They would never expect you to keep the house the same as it was and frozen in time. So I just feel like so much is being asked of us. It's also like when people ask you about what Darren's ex thinks of your platform, it's like, it's just so funny because it's like, well, probably she's happy that her kids have a step parent who is this committed to like doing work and being this amazing step parent versus someone that's just not working on themselves and being like an asshole about being a step parent. So it's just, but of course no one sees it that way, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe they do, but yeah.
It's not like I have one of those platforms, and there are definitely those platforms of the stepmoms who are just like,
yeah, I'm seeing more and more of those.
Yeah. They're intense, right? Like, there's a lot, they're popping up, and that makes me sad. It makes me really sad, and it makes me really frustrated. Like, there's a couple accounts that are just like, the stepmoms are getting on the stories and they're just like attacking and saying and putting down their stepkid's mom, and like sharing all of their family's stuff on the internet. And I'm thinking, look, and it comes back to, I say this all the time, like, you don't have to respect someone to treat them with respect. Like, your kids, like, the internet's forever. Like, that just speaks so much about you, and not even really about them. Like, that's just those poor kids. They're going to hear what you're saying about their mom.
Screenshots. I mean, you can take screenshots of that stuff and
Record.
it's not a good look. And I actually had to stop following a couple of those accounts because they were getting too into that.
Too negative. Yeah. And you know what? We're sitting here trying to change that conversation, right? Like I would love stepmoms to be viewed as, you know, a parental figure. I don't think stepmoms are moms. Like that's, in some situations there are. For me, I'm not the kid's mom. I've never tried to be the kid's mom, but I am the mom in this house.
Yeah.
And I take on that role in this house, and I'm a parent in this house.
Yeah.
And I do parent the kids more when they were younger, but you know, like just having step parents being viewed as
parents,
part of the team.
Yeah, I think it comes back to the word parent and like parenting, like as a verb, because the whole mom, stepmom, it's like you can take it or leave it. But if you're parenting a child, then you're one of the parents. And I feel like that's more general and it doesn't trigger people as much. So I'm almost like, maybe I'll start using that. Like it's just being like
step parent.
Yeah. Just being like, I'm one of the parents, like one of the 4 parents, because Louise has also a stepdad, right? So she has 4 parents, mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad. So it's almost like I want to start redirecting it to being like, yeah, I do a lot of the parenting. Like, yeah, I'm a stepmom. I do a good amount of parenting, and like getting away from the hierarchy of like mom, stepmom, you know, like there's just this, it's a status thing. And that's what I think I lost my train of thought before. That's what happened in the Facebook group was someone commented that there's a hierarchy that they don't want to be part of that comes along with step and biological. And I agree with that. It is a hierarchy. And it's a hierarchy that's different for each family, though, because in some families, the mom is the biological mom is MIA, and then the stepmom is, you know, the mom. So again, that's why it's like there's not one size fits all, and it's really hard to talk about. So that's what brings me back to just being like, yeah, I do parenting. I'm like one of the 4 parents.
I do parenting.
Yeah, I do parenting. Yeah.
Do you have kids? I do parenting.
Yeah, I'm part of the parenting team. Yeah,
I don't know. Scrimger parenting team.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I really think it's like case by case. I think it depends who you're talking to, depends on the situation. Like if someone at the retreat had asked me, you know, where'd you give birth? Or did you have a home birth? Then sure. Then you come out and you say, oh, she's my step kid, so I actually didn't birth her. But if they're asking about things like what's her favorite color, I'm sorry, but I know that, you know, you can ask me, or like, what is she doing for school, and all of these personal things. I do have those answers. So I just feel like I'm just going to start being like, it's a case by case thing. And I'm definitely would never hide that she's my stepdaughter. But if it's going to make a transaction at the grocery store easier of saying like, oh, I'm looking for my daughter, I can't find her, I'm going to say that versus I need to find my stepdaughter, you know?
Yeah, because they'll be like, she ran away because she doesn't like you. She's probably calling her mom at the payphone, right?
That's exactly
she probably
it,
doesn't like you.
You're abusive. Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Exactly.
Because you're a shitty stepmom. I think it's like to go back to the hierarchy piece, like I do think in some situations there is a hierarchy too, but I get why people don't want to be involved in it, right? Like, yeah. And I would have said that I had an issue with the hierarchy at the beginning, like when the kids were younger, because man, Darren was working late nights and I was doing the hockey. I was running around. I was with the kids all the time. And like, I was all in. And now that they're older and they're, you know, just parenting them looks different when they're teenagers and stuff. Like I feel like I'm more of a mentor, I guess. I don't even really know. Right. But I do know, like when it comes to those major decisions, there is a hierarchy in that Darren can trump me and say, no, actually, this is what we're doing. He can't trump me with like rules in the house. Well, maybe, I don't know. Like just when it comes to things with the kids, like he has the final decision and so does his first wife. Like the two of them are the parents.
Yes. Yeah.
I have an opinion. I'm a supporting role, but there is a hierarchy there. But I don't even know. Like, how do you even move forward from that? Yeah, I think we're just all going to be part of the parenting team.
I think we're all part of the parenting collective. Yeah, I think the hierarchy in each house, though, is probably different. Like, I think it probably used to be more of like the mom and the bio mom, bio dad, and then step parents. But like, again, I think just being in like 2021 and families are looking so different. There's not like the nuclear family is not as, prevalent as it once was. So I think just for there to be an awareness around conversations that everyone's family is different and there isn't the old trope of like, ask your dad, ask your mom, it's like, it's more complicated than that. And it's more nuanced than that. And yeah, I definitely think my husband trumps me on things, but I think I trump him on things too, in
Darren
some
would say
ways.
that too.
Yeah.
Darren's
Sure
like, you talk like you don't have a say here. Like you rule the roost. I said, no, I feel like I can get trumped. But I think, we definitely, the way we run things, we pick our battles. Like I have my areas where I'm going to call the shots, but we're very deliberate in like who has the area that can be trumped, if you will. So I was just thinking though, has anyone ever said like anything completely ridiculous to you about being a stepmom? Like mine's the lunchbox thing.
That's really bad. I haven't had anything that bad yet. I think sometimes it's hurtful with friends. Like sometimes friends will make a comment. I'm trying to think, like we'll make some kind of comment that implies like that I don't like my stepdaughter or like something sort of negative.
Or like it's a pain.
Yeah. Like something about, oh, well, if you have a baby, you can just like kick her out. I'm like, that's like, it's a joke, but it's like, it shows that they think that it's the hierarchy. It shows like, well, if you have a baby, kick out the stepdaughter. It's like a very old trope that I'm just not interested in. So that kind of stuff does bother me. But I haven't had anything like the lunch boxes yet because that's rough. Millennial stepmom, Laura, who's been on your podcast, messaged me after my article and said she had some similar things. She said she was skiing with her stepson and but hers was different than mine because the woman said to her, oh, the kids, something like, oh, this hurts, but it's nothing compared to childbirth. Right. And Laura was like, didn't know what to say. And she was like, yeah, I guess. And then just felt like she was doing something wrong. Like she felt like she had done something bad.
But that's such like a naive thing to say or ignorant thing to say. It's like she could have adopted or she could have had a surrogate or like there's so many ways that people become families now.
Yeah.
And I don't want the step family space to get to that place because I do think there's a lot of areas in our society right now that no one knows what to say. Like what's the right way to talk?
I know.
So I like to bring it back to intention, right? Because I do think I've had conversations with women who I feel are very judgmental or I feel are, not including me because I'm the stepmom, not the mom, right?
Yeah.
There's for sure been those. But then there's also been situations where they're like totally inclusive and it's totally fine. And then those people sometimes will say something that's a little offside, but it goes back to intent. Was that their intent was it that they were belittling me? Or is it like an education piece where you can say, no, like actually this is what this looks like for us?
Yeah. And the thing to remember too, is those people have been getting messages from the culture their whole life that step parents are wicked, right? So what do they know? And then if they're not in a step family, they haven't had to do what we've had to do of like relearning. So I feel like what you're saying, it's like they don't mean harm. And I feel like everyone should be able to, I don't think people need to tiptoe around step parents. And I hope, my article doesn't come off that way.
No, it doesn't. It's so good.
I just think having maybe a conversation, like a curiosity more around step families, having like a curiosity or asking, what do you want to be called? What makes you comfortable would be helpful. And so for me, it's more just like exploring the language as I think it is for you too. It's like, I don't think there's a right or wrong, but I think it's really interesting to explore.
Yeah. And let's focus on the acts
and the impact. Yeah. Right.
Let's focus on the acts. Let's focus on someone else's opinion of your life and what you're doing and how they feel about how you are, all of the things. Right. And I said that on my Instagram. I was like, I don't give other people permission to have a say on how we do our life. Right. Like I get to decide what's right for me. And I think that a lot of stepmoms give so much power to the ex and to the history and to those conversations. And it's like, okay, like for me, that was 9 years ago. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's move this forward. You wouldn't be having a conversation with me about my boyfriend who I was with 9 years ago.
Right.
Right. Like you wouldn't be
It's so
rehashing
true.
that and asking me what he thinks about. Yeah. Right. We didn't have
About
kids
your
together. We had a
marriage.
dog, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think it's really interesting just how things are evolving. And I think these are important conversations to have and just to educate people on, let's stop focusing on the drama in the step family
Mm-hmm.
situations. Like stop baiting the stepmom into like spilling
Yes.
the goods, because chances are there are goods and there is drama and there is stress in a lot of situations.
Just like in every family, though, like that's what's
Yeah.
kind of gets on my nerves is like, ask a nuclear family their juicy stuff because they've got it too, right? It's like
Yeah.
the blended family doesn't have like more drama than any other kind of family because all families have stuff. It might be a different kind of drama, but everyone has it. No family gets out alive from having some kind of like dynamic.
Yeah. But no one talks about it.
Yeah.
No one fixates on that. They fixate on it in the blended family. And maybe that's just people feel more comfortable with like being aligned with that narrative, right? The narrative we've been taught about what stepmoms are. But man, like there's a lot of stepmoms now. Like it's time to really, it's time.
It is time. You know, something else I was thinking recently about biological moms and stepmoms and how there is this hierarchy, I feel, at times where the biological mom is like, well, you can't understand having a toddler, which is true. I can't. But I'm trying to kind of reframe it and be like, you have experience I don't have for sure of being pregnant, having a baby, seeing these stages. And let's say, you know, now they're 4 or 5. But what's interesting is like, I have experience that you don't have too. Like you don't know what it's like to have a 10-year-old daughter, stepdaughter, whatever. And the things that we go through and having known her when she was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So that's something that's just been interesting to me lately. It's like, I wish it didn't feel like one was better than the other and that like all experience is experience. So that's just something I've been thinking about is like, even if you're a step parent, that is still parenting experience in a completely different way.
Yeah. And I would say when it comes to just developing as a person and growing and the lessons that I've learned and just all of the personal growth I've gone through since becoming a stepmom or since having a family, I've had more growth being a stepmom than I have as a mom because it is such a complex role and there's so much reflection and mindset and just like picking your battles and like it's like life skills 101 being a stepmom, right? Like you're going through like all of it. And again, those experiences, they're not valued as much as.
No, they're not. Isn't it interesting?
Screw that.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And the other thing I'll just say is like, I'm also in a point of privilege because that's why I called it like passing as a mom, because we both have blonde hair. So I literally pass. Whereas other stepmoms or, you know, adoptive families, whatever it may be, who don't look alike or have different skin color they don't get that privilege of like passing. So I feel like that's just something I have noticed is a privilege to even be able to leave out the word step, because I can't imagine what it's like for other people who just get stared at or asked inappropriate questions. So I'm like, wow, to be able to just walk down the street and have people assume, oh, look at the, the mother and daughter is like, it's crazy to me that is a privilege, but it is just in our culture.
Nice.
Yeah.
It
and
is
it's
nice.
And it is like relaxing.
100%. Yeah. I know. So my youngest stepson, he was 5 when I came. And so, yeah, my oldest stepson, he is 17, going to be 17. My stepdaughter's 18. So it didn't look as possible for them to have been mine just because of our age difference. I kind of looked like their babysitter. And, but when it's Darren, Reese, Zach, and I, we look like a family, right? Like they kind of, Reese and Zach look like, and as much as that's a little weird, there's part of me that when we go places and like no one just knows anything about the step family dynamic, it's nice to not have those conversations. It's nice to not feel like you're one question away from having to divulge like your co-parenting plan. You know?
Yes. Oh, I never thought of that for you. Oh, so when it's the four of you, yeah, you get looked at completely differently than if it's all of you. That makes so much sense. Yeah, you notice this. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I keep saying like a relaxation because I went on that trip to like have a vacation, and then I was like, wow, that part, dropping the step, really let me have a vacation.
I love it. And thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I do think, these are the conversations that we need to have. These are the positive conversations about being a stepmom, about the experience, about the double standard. You can have these conversations without having that negativity and that, I guess sometimes rage, I guess it comes on some of the other conversations and platforms. Like the conversation really is changing. And that makes me so happy because that's kind of why I started doing all of this in the first place.
Yeah.
Just to change that conversation and lose that double standard. So thank you so much.
You have changed it because I feel like it's made me more open to talking about this stuff. I think otherwise I would probably feel more shame and hide it. But I feel like with the community, it's very empowering.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the goal here. Well, thank you so much, Chloe. I love chatting with
Jamie.
you.
That was really fun.
For sure. I think next time over wine.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode just as much as I enjoyed having this conversation. Again, if it resonates, be sure to share it with a friend. Come to iTunes, leave a rating and review. I love hearing your feedback. I read every single review, and honestly, it just means the world. Now, if you are craving more real talk and next level conversations, I highly recommend checking out the exclusive Stepmom community. It is my membership space for stepmoms where we take conversations like the ones we have on the podcast to the next level. So there are raw and real and filtered podcast episodes that I don't share anywhere else. Live Q&As recorded for those who can't make it live. We typically go live once a month. Interviews with all the top step family experts, individualized support from me, discounts on coaching calls, and my signature course, Kick-Ass Stepmom, Kick-Ass Life, which, by the way, we are opening enrollment for very soon, so you can stay tuned for that. And you also get access to a private forum off social media where you can connect with stepmoms from all over the world, ask me anything. And guys, you can be completely anonymous. You can change your name so that you can just feel safe to say whatever it is you feel like you need to say. This is all about having a safe space off social media where you can get the type of support and have the type of conversations that you really need to have. Members also get a copy of my new online magazine. It's a digital download called the Stepmom Exclusive, which is a magazine for stepmoms, not just about being a stepmom. So you can get all the information at www.jamiescrimger.com/membership. And when you join, come to the forum and say hi. I cannot wait to meet you.